how sweet it is. Let me know if there's an echo. To be loved by you nerds. What is up? It's me, buddy. It's me, your buddy pal, HeyArcher. Welcome back to HeyArcher Live here on Nerd Affiliate. Dude, I swear to God. So right now on my screen, things are jittery. My sound meter is just exclamation points. I'm gonna take a picture. I'll post it later so you guys can see it. It is, I don't understand what is happening with any of the software, but it's fine. We'll make it through. We'll overcome, because this is your weekly Thursday night show. So it's your weekly Thursday night show where we sit back, we relax, and we enjoy ourselves just a little bit of,
more specifically, vodka.
we missed the camera.
Beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
And we shoot the shit. We shoot the shit. We talk nerd shop. We talk about whatever it is you guys want to talk about. Tonight, the rambling one, Sir Anthony, is joining me to do just that. But of course, if you have a YouTube channel, a podcast, a blog, OnlyFans, newsletter, smoke signals, whatever it may be, put it in the chat. Support one another. Plug yo shits. Plug yo shit. I am also streaming right now on X, but I call it Twitter. I'm just going to call it Twitter going forward. I am streaming on Twitter as well, so hopefully it's coming through loud and clear. But yeah, we're gonna have a good time. It's almost Friday. But without further ado, we'll bring in the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Anthony in the house. Good to hear you, not see you.
Good to be heard. Cheers.
How you doing today?
Nice cold beer on a hot day. Pretty good.
Yeah,
What are you drinking?
Oh, usual bourbon.
Oh, okay. For
The
some reason, it
unofficial
looked like it's a
sponsor.
different color.
Hudson Whiskey, New York.
Gotcha. No, it looked like, I don't know. I thought it was wine or something for a minute. I was confused.
Well, you know what it is? There are cherries on the bottom. So
okay.
it kind of like changes that color up a little bit. I'm like too lazy to make a full-on old-fashioned. I get almost there. I'm like, cherries, I'm good enough.
Fair enough. Here's a tip for you. My grandmother does this. Since you clearly like cherries, if you want to pretend that you're eating healthy or having a healthy snack, but you're really just going to get shit-faced in the daytime like a classy person, get a bottle of rum, get an old glass jar, toss in a ton of cherries, fill it with rum, let it soak. That will get you fucked up quickly.
I'll have to do that. So yeah, sorry we're late. I know. I'm never late, not even once. But the tech difficulties were getting my nerves, and I was using the bathroom. But that being said, let's see how everybody in the chat. Of course, we have Josh in the house. Good to see ya. Figure Fever in the house. KO in the house. Anthony in the house. Good to see ya. Dada Films in the house. Aaron Waller in the house. The man collects. That's what I'm saying. I'm not late. Just making an entrance. Millennium in the house. Good to see ya. Everybody saying hi to each other. Love that. No echo. Great. And of course, Dada with the trees. I gotta get you a button, Dada. I gotta get you a dedicated trees button. And then we have Patrick in the house. Know Your Craft. Logs in, immediately starts writing notes about cherries. There you go. You can learn a lot from Anthony via an old Italian woman in Staten Island.
Yep. She has a lot of tricks up her sleeve and tissues, because that's just where they put them.
They do that.
Mm-hmm.
Shameless plugs out of the way, of course. Nerd Affiliated on Instagram. You can keep up to date with all the things we're doing, all the memes, news, all of that fun stuff. If you're more into the Ghostbusters side of things, we have the Real Nerdbusters over on Instagram as well. So some cross-pollination going on, but this is purely Ghostbusters on this side of the fence. And, of course, links to everything will be at nerdaffiliated.com. Not only will you find the links, but you'll find merch, photos, all sorts of cool stuff. But I do want to give that RIP to Shelley Duvall, who didn't seem like she was having the best time towards the end of her life. I went down a wormhole of like some videos and stuff, but Hollywood does that sometimes. Hollywood just ruins it for everybody. But I don't know about you, Anthony, but I was going to say the first thing that always comes to mind with Shelley Duvall is Fairy Tale Theater, I believe it was called. And it would air on PBS sometimes, but it was a series where they took like stories and just reenacted them for kids. Like Jack and the Beanstalk, Pinocchio, stuff like that. And she was the host of the show. So I'd go to the library, buy the cassette. It's weird. I could like smell the cassette in my nose. I'm having one of those flashbacks where you could like smell that moment in time. But like, get the cassette, put it in. She announces what the episode is. You watch it, all that. So that was my first introduction to Shelley Duvall. What do you have?
Probably Popeye. Olive oil right there. And then later on, of course, in The Shining.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah.
So R.I.P. Shelley Duvall. But what I imagine you haven't been watching anything. So nothing interesting on TV these days.
I mean, I've been watching something, but yeah, there's nothing. No. And I can't say there's nothing good on because The Boys has been true to form.
That is true. I've been hearing that.
Yeah. But as far as from that Disney Plus app, nothing good has come of it.
Yeah.
Thank God I don't pay full price for it. Thank you, Josh.
I'm actually going to do a test chat from Twitter to see. Oh, it does come up. All right, cool. I wasn't sure. Yeah, the show's happening. The show's going.
That's the nicest thing you can say about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need more beer.
I just wish that some effort could be put into it. I think that's where I'm at now. Like, I'm just like, like you said, The Boys, Patrick here, mentioning Fallout. Like, there's so many shows out there where it's like, oh, like, this is what happens when you take time to write a story and, have different versions, different cuts, different revisions. Like, you really put some thought into a story. You can have something, have something good. And you watch The Acolyte and you're just like, I don't fucking, why?
Yeah. No, yeah, like Fallout's great. I guess we said currently watching, but no, Fallout was amazing. I never played the game, but I love that show. And Walter Goggins, seriously, not my comment, but I agree with it. He's very much solidifying a superstar TV resume, and nobody's really paying attention to it. Well, now they are, but nobody had been. Oh my God.
Pull him up.
Hit the applause. Josh is caught up on The Acolyte.
Josh was never caught up on anything.
Yeah.
And what's up, Marv? Good to see you. Everybody saying hi to each other. Figure Fever says Amazon's hitting it out of the park with some of their series. I mean, consistent. Let me pull this up here so you guys can see who we're talking about. But yeah,
I'm excited for the Batman on Amazon. Sorry.
Yeah, the cartoon.
Yep,
for sure. I think when it comes to the animated side of things, DC normally, we've talked about this countless times, like DC normally hits it out of the park. They've been taking some L's with the movies, but I think because this is tied in with Amazon, I'm a little bit more excited. I'm a little bit more like, all right, I think there'll be some good oversight here. Potentially. But this is Walter Goggins, who Anthony was talking about. And yeah, I mean, Fallout, Justified, Sons of Anarchy, Vice Principals. I never saw it, but I heard good things about it. And then, of course, The Shield was the other one I was thinking of with him. And that's on top of the movies.
I forgot he was in The Shield.
Yeah. Scumbag cop, like number one, like.
Yeah. I haven't seen that show in forever.
I started it, and then I just never finished it.
Same. It was definitely like, I think I watched it because FX was making cool shows at the time, but I don't know, for some reason I fell off. But
oh right, he was the assassin in Fat Man.
Yep.
Oh, who does he play in Invincible?
He's the CIA boss with the fucked up face.
Really? That's him? Wow.
Cecil? No.
Cecil, I think it is.
Cecil, right? What's the
he is
guy
Cecil. Wow. Yeah.
Who's the guy with glasses? The CIA assistant.
Oh,
it's like fuck. Cyril. No, that's too close. Well, whatever. I was between those two.
I didn't realize Mark Hamill was in it.
Oh yeah, he's the Taylor.
Yeah, didn't catch that.
I like notice his voice everywhere now, and I feel like it's just shades of the Joker in everything he's doing. Oh,
Ezra Miller's in the show?
That? Ha. Jinx.
Jinx. D.A. Sinclair? Who's that? D.A. Sinclair. That guy?
Oh.
Wow. So that's how he's been getting a paycheck this whole time.
Well, who knows? What's going to be going on with him going forward? I wonder. Haven't heard a peep.
Finally, right?
Yeah. There was a while there where like the news was just getting crazier and crazier. I can't believe they leave. I still can't believe to this day that they let, and I know you love it, I can't believe they let the Flash out, but they pulled Batgirl.
Oh. Well, hang on. First of all, we got to answer the question. Who is the
CIA
assistant?
Assistant, yeah. Donald. Okay.
Why am I not... Wait, was that his real name or the character name?
Oh, that's the character name.
Oh, shit. What was the... Well, actually, we can find it this way.
Yeah.
Donald.
Oh, wow. Worf is in it, too.
Damn, there's a lot of people in this. Holy crap. Reginald Johnson's in the show? Who does he play? Where's Donald? Am I missing it?
I don't see it either.
Let's search it again. CIA assistant. Is it this guy? No.
Chris Diamantopoulos.
I have no idea who that is.
No friggin' clue.
But this is a crazy cast. Crazy cast. Huh. Guan? What is that? I don't know what that means. But hello, Steve. Good to see you. Walter Cecil and Nick Fury, or the Nick Fury old guy. Yeah. Did you finish season 2?
I'm pretty sure I did.
That's a good review.
No, you know what? Did I?
You probably finished season 2, part 1.
Probably. I'm checking Amazon right now. Damn. And here I was.
That was the worst decision they could have
complaining I
done.
didn't have anything to do.
Splitting that up. They split up for no reason.
Well, they did it because that's what they do on regular TV now. Because again, the old lady still watches the quote unquote major networks, and they'll do, they'll do their fall release, and then they stop around Thanksgiving, Christmas time, and then new episodes come back in like end of January for the second half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Oh, interesting. Is this down? Wow, this is crazy. So I was closing out some tabs just now.
I have 2 episodes left. Shit.
Is it good?
I was all done with it.
Are you enjoying it?
No, I was enjoying it a lot, and I never read the comics, so it was all. I don't know how faithful or not it was, but I think Sal said he read it. But so okay, so I have 2 to go. Whoops, I really thought I finished that.
Tisk.
Nice. Now I have something to watch.
I was closing out tabs just now to clean up the browser, and the Hasbro site is down for, looks like, service.
Huh. All those people ordering the Cantina last minute.
Yeah, right?
I can't believe. I mean, I guess I can believe it funded, but like, whew.
See, I think I still had it. Here we go. Oh, I thought that's what you meant, but I wasn't sure. I swear I thought that's what you were doing, but then I was like, maybe this is a character I'm just not familiar with, so I skipped it. But yeah, the Cantina link is still up because I had it here and hasn't timed out yet. But yeah, 10,642 backers at either 400 or 500.
That's so crazy. I mean, I know I really shouldn't talk, but that's crazy.
Well, at this point, it's like, what is it just worth to the person, And, Dada and I were talking about it on last week's show. He ended up not doing it. But then JB, who's normally here in the chat, he was on a live stream the final night. He did it. He decided to do it last minute. So it depends on what you're trying to do. Like for us nowadays, we're very much always thinking about cosplay and use outside of the house, whereas for others that's not a priority. So yeah, 400 for a dope play set, that makes sense. And actually, Geek Strong dropped a video a couple days ago. Let's see here. Let the ad play. Always support your friends. And he was talking about how much fun you can have just like setting up a diorama and like customizing it for what you're trying to do and all that. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, if that's the goal, if my goal is just to have a dope setup, then $300 is good.
Yeah. No, if you're actually going to do something with it, yeah. But like, like we say, with the blanking on the ship's name, the Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do something like cool photos with it, cool. But like, how many people just bought it and maybe put it on a shelf if they have a big enough shelf?
But it's most likely in a box.
Yeah, it's in a box collecting dust. Maybe it's next to a Millennium Falcon someplace.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's watch this video. And you guys can't hear it. All right, hang on. Yo, I swear to God, it's been an issue. Ongoing issue.
Lab here, putting all figures inside there, making a scene. I think it just adds so much more to a collection and the playability in my collection. I love my Millennium Falcon setting figures all up in there. So this isn't a push for the Cantina, but if you're on the fence, I think it's a good purchase because it's customizable. And even if you don't want the complete set, you can always sell a few pieces like I'm going to do. I bought 2, so I'm going to sell some of the bar and things like that to other people that might need it also. I'm not going to do it to make more money than what it's worth. I'm just going to try to break even, so hopefully I can have the loose figures. I'm going to open up a set of the figures because I love the vintage collection. So the Katana Sisters and Woo Her, I'm going to open up one set, and another set I'm going to keep on card. And then sell off the bar to people that just might want a piece or two. But if you want the figures and you want the whole set, I would think about really consider backing it. Again, it's not a push for the Cantina. Today is more of a video to show you how much fun you can have with the vintage collection. So what do you say? Let's do this!
So I suggest you guys watch the whole thing, but I'll just like show you, he's kind of just having fun here, like showing how you can just rebuild scenes, various, pieces, and he got a couple things off eBay to like build out some of these sets. So, there's a lot of fun with it for sure. And that if that's the goal, if the goal is just the collection room, then yeah, 400 is, probably just fine.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that looks, I gotta watch that video because that does look cool. Like, but again, like it's worth it. Like you just said, for him. Like for me, I would just be getting it because of, it's a HasLab. I'm never going to be able to get it again. And it will stay in a box.
Yeah.
Or I'll unbox it and then put it right back in after we post the video.
It's funny. I actually, he made a good point there about having to buy 2. I kind of regret not buying 2 of the 2 in the box. Like, I don't know why I would need 2. But I kind of regret not buying 2, and then maybe like, oh, all right, I don't need 2 of these. I'll sell one off. Kind of regret it.
Yeah, I had thought about that too, but then this is why I would never make it in like the actual business world. I'm like, I feel too bad about like selling it and then like being like, what do we pay for it? I forget.
3?
3? Yeah.
It was 3.
I'd be like, I'd feel bad about selling it for 4 plus shipping,
right.
Like, and that's not a huge profit, obviously, but like people who double or triple it, more power to you.
Doesn't feel right.
To me, it's like,
yeah,
come on, if I just make a little bit more, I'd be fine, So I'm definitely not cut out for the business world or the flipper market, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Actually, there's something else I wanted to talk about, and I want to get you guys' thoughts. By the way, shout out to Rolando in the house. Good to see you. Steve was in the house. I know I said that before. Marv. Good to see you guys. There was a trailer that dropped this week. It was an image first, then the trailer dropped afterwards, and I feel like I finally reached that point where I'm like, oh, you didn't have to make this movie. Like, I know we joke about this a lot of times. We're like, you don't have to make this remake. You don't have to do X, Y, and Z. But when they announced Time Bandits, and it especially wasn't Little People, I was like, you shouldn't have done this. Like, this is an absolute waste. Shout out to Lewis. He says, you got to buy 2 for that reason. Yeah. So are you a Time Bandits fan, or have you never seen the movie? I don't think I've ever asked you that.
I've never seen the movie. I didn't realize it was a remake. Or it is a remake, right? That's what it's going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just was focusing on like, oh, wow, Lisa Kudrow's in a movie.
Right.
Not knocking her. Like, I watch Friends almost every day. It's on in the background after the morning news.
Yeah.
Because that's depressing, and then I need some like, oh, okay, this is comforting. Comfort show. But I didn't know it was a remake. I was thinking, when you said it was a remake before I looked closely, what was that movie with like, it was a bad 2000s movie with Paul Walker where they like fax themselves to the past?
Paul
like
Walker.
The gimmick of it. You're on YouTube,
I know, but I wanted to find the Time Bandits trailer for you.
Oh, okay.
But it's also, it's more fun if we try to figure it out. So it's a movie where they travel through time and they fax, like on a fax machine.
I very vividly remember them saying it's like being faxed to the past or something like that. Like, I don't think they actually use like a legit fax machine. That's just the analogy they made. And like they go back, it's like Paul Walker in like medieval times or something. It's almost as bad as In the Name of the King, where Burt Reynolds plays a fucking king, like a legit
timeline
king. Maybe.
I like how these are the images, not even what we're looking for.
Yeah, hit timeline. That 2003.
Gerard
That
Butler's
sounds
in it.
right. That's definitely the show, the movie. I'm marking that the Billy Connolly was in it.
You actually built a 3D fax machine.
Well, we figured out how to transmit an object to 3D.
Yo. Legit.
Oh, early 2000s. What a
That
time.
sentence. That shit for me.
Play it again.
Wait a minute, you're saying you actually built a 3D fax machine?
Well, we figured out how to transmit an object to 1357.
Oh,
You actually made it work? Right, we found documents with my father's writing on it. We found his glasses. What are you trying to tell us, that he faxed it back to the 14th century?
Fact is, your father is in the 14th century. We need you to help us get him back.
Think of it as the ultimate field trip.
He was involved in this?
Oh my god.
Oof.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Dick. Oh, Dick.
And that other guy who was in like everything and then he fell off. He was in Arrow. He was the bad guy in Walking Tall.
Damien Dark? That guy?
Damien Dark, yep.
Yeah. He was in Justified also.
Yeah, he's in everything. He was on a good run. He says that Hollywood kicked him out because he stood on morals. But I'm like,
I heard something about that too. He was like, I only play bad guys because they don't kiss girls. And he wanted to stay loyal to his wife, which is fine. But he did play, he was Dum Dum Dugan in Captain America, First Avenger,
yeah. Yeah,
right? Is it Dugan?
pretty sure.
Yeah. And then I actually enjoyed the Agent Carter TV show. He played that role again on that for one episode.
Yeah. That dude.
The bass player from The Wonders.
Gerard Butler over there.
That was pre
300.
Leonidas, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how he uses the excuse of like, yeah, 300 just killed any desire I ever had to work out again. It's like, hey, that's as good an excuse as any.
Yeah. It's terrible. Terrible. Well, unlike this movie, Time Bandits is actually a pretty good movie. I'll pause it periodically so we don't get stricken down, but
Trailers.
73, take 2.
One day they'll put me in a film, a proper full-length job. Until then, I'm just stuck with this sort of stuff. Go and see this. Don't miss that. The most terrifying thing you ever saw is coming to babysit for you tonight.
All right, cut it there. Look, just read what's on the script, will you?
What?
The script. Other way up.
Ah. Ready?
Yes, yes.
You flock to see brief encounters for the special...
Close.
Huh? Close encounters.
Close Encounters, the film.
Oh, I never saw it.
And forget that film. We're on about our film. Time Bandits.
The what?
Time Bandits, the one you are supposed to be promoting. Remember?
You flock to see Close Encounters for the special effects. You went to Superman to see a man fly. You went to Star Wars for the droids. You went...
Now what?
What's page 2, man?
It's under page 1. See? Oh, dear.
You went to Star Wars. Time Bandits can offer you much, much more. It's not the special effects, or flying men, or droids, which makes Time Bandits a unique cinematic...
Cinematic! You know, pertaining to the cinema.
Cinematic experience. It's the makeup. Yes, folks, you've never seen anything like it. Men made up to look like monsters. Monsters made up to look like men. Look-alike men made up to look different. Different men made up to look alike. No expense has been spared on the pan stick. No expense has been spared flying in the world's greatest makeup man.
Just a minute. What about the plot?
The what?
The plot. What the film is about.
Well, I haven't seen it, have I?
Haven't seen it? You're sitting there telling millions of people to go and see a film you haven't even seen?
Well, I can't see every film I do now, can I?
Oh, wonderful. Terrific. Look, give me that.
What are you doing?
Taking over. You're out. O-U-T. Finished. Kaput. Finito.
What about the trailer?
I'll do it. Time Bandits is an awfully good film. We have worked ever so hard on it. It's a tremendous adventure story. We like it, and we're pretty sure you will. What's wrong with it? It's direct, punchy, honest.
Honest. Honest. Modest. What's that got to do with it?
I've never seen a trailer like that before.
Wow.
That is entertaining.
I'm interested.
Also, that trailer gave away like every plot point. Oh my god. The trailer is better than anything they tried to remake. Yeah. I can't believe you've never seen that movie. It's so good. It's so good. And the reason why I'm like essentially offended that they didn't use little people was, first of all, hard as shit to get a job in Hollywood as a little person. I don't know personally, but I've not heard otherwise. I've never heard anybody outside of Peter Dinklage say, oh yeah, it's easy or whatever. He's never said that, but he's the most popular person. But the movie, it doesn't like, how do I say? It doesn't make fun of them. Like, they're just the characters. They're just. I don't want to like give away more plots. I won't say more, but they're just the characters of the movie. And I'm like, for that reason, I think to honor that movie, this movie should also have little people. I don't think that's asking too much, but you know, they've Hollywood gonna Hollywood, so we'll see. I can't tell if you're talking or if... Oh, you
No,
weren't.
I'm just
Okay.
listening.
Oh, okay. No, because my audio cuts in and out, so I didn't want to be rude and cut you off if you were talking. I was trying to think. There was a movie where... Oh, Snow White. Disney's making a Snow White movie, and I think they pulled it to reshoot it because they were taking a, like, how do you say it? Regular size people and using CGI to make them little people, just like they did in
not offensive at all.
Just like they did in Lord of the Rings.
Wonka. Oh,
Wonka. Yep.
well, did they use CGI in Lord of the Rings? I thought like they used like tricks of like shooting it differently, or like didn't they build like maybe they use it in like The Hobbit, but I thought in Lord of the Rings I didn't look too much into it. Wasn't it like sets? Like they had like actual sets where like the people who were supposed to be like the little people were like basically up to their waist or something if they had to be in a scene with another guy, and it was like costumes and shit.
Probably.
Or am I pulling that totally out of my ass?
I think you're correct. Like they did it for that. I know they did it in The Hobbit. I think The Hobbit. Yeah, they were regular people too. So it's like Hollywood keeps doing that. And I'm like, to me, that's bullshit. That's like absolute bullshit. But
Yeah, hired actual
little people. Yeah.
I don't know why I hesitated to say it.
Because it's weird. You almost feel like, am I being offensive by saying it?
Yeah.
But I don't think you are. I think that's the proper term to use, and I don't see why they just wouldn't cast that way in all these movies, especially as time has gone on. I don't know. To me, it's almost blackface to do that. To say instead of hiring somebody, I'm going to just use computers to make them that thing. It's the same thing to me. But
fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, Hollywood's just going to keep on doing Hollywood. All right, so let's dive into it. Let's talk about
time?
It's that time. It's that time.
Oh boy.
And I'm going to open it with the question that I posed online. Which do you think has done more damage? Acolyte or Last Jedi? Or is it just everything? But I feel like it's too easy to say it's all of it. So I want to pose it to everybody. Was it The Acolyte or is it Last Jedi? What has done more damage?
Well, I would have said all of it, but since I can't, I'll say The Acolyte, and I'll say it because there were nuggets in the sequel trilogy I enjoyed. Like, I actually enjoyed The Force Awakens. Yes, it was a retread, all this other shit. In the end, in the third act, when the lightsaber goes flying, if Luke Skywalker appeared, like, because Mark Hamill said it, if Luke Skywalker appeared and caught the fucking lightsaber, and like, you know, add another scene in where Daisy Ridley, they like do that whole scene up to that. I haven't seen this movie in a long time. Do the whole scene after Finn where Daisy Rey has the saber and she fights Kylo, and it gets knocked out of her hand, right? Oh no, it's Finn. Sorry. Maybe give Rey a little action too. This way, like have her get involved with the lightsaber after Finn gets taken out. It gets knocked out of her hand, and then fly it to Luke. So like little things like that. And then like I enjoy that movie overall, even though yes, it's a repeat of episode 4. But I think this is doing more damage because they're just showing like that basically I don't think they're showing the Jedi as anything but politically minded, child stealing assholes. Incompetent at that too. Cause like, you know, I said it in the chat when we were talking about it. They're incompetent and idiots, and this is why. Because, and spoilers if you haven't seen the most recent episode, mute it.
I mean, wait.
Like
you have, because this episode is literally episode 3 again.
I'm saying like for the guys in the chat.
Oh no. But I'm also letting them know like this is it's a flashback of the same content.
Exactly, just from like a different camera angle. But like they're idiots because Saul, like I said in the chat before, he goes to hold up instead of like taking what could those girls weigh? 90 pounds at most, and like I don't think so, but I'm just rounding up. Say they weigh 90 pounds, 180 pounds altogether. Why are you trying to hold up the hundreds of pound catwalk that's breaking instead of just force pulling them to you or force pushing them back against their respective walls? You know, like I said in the chat, I don't know any of their names in the show aside from Saul and Osha and May, but Trinity's Padawan goes running for the speeder. We'll get them. They're virgins. First of all, you're an asshole child abductor at this point. We're gonna take them. What? You're gonna steal children. Okay, not okay, but okay. That's your plan.
Right.
Padawan, wait, not this idiot, and swipe the hands, knock him off the speeder, or like freeze him because he's your Padawan. He's not a master yet. Freeze him in motion and be like, Padawan, take a breath, please. This show sucks. They're just doing so much damage, and for some reason I had it in my head that it was set way before Phantom Menace. I listened to that interview today, and then I watched Star Wars Theory talk about it, and he kept saying 87 years before Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
So then it's like, oh, okay, that's why the Jedi are fucking politically minded, assholes, more worried about the like how stuff will be perceived than just doing their Jedi thing, because that's not enough time. That's like they're in their decline already, whether they know it or not, because the Phantom Menace is a lifespan of a regular human away at most. And like it's, you know, Palpatine seeded a lot of other stuff, but like the Jedi had already become entwined with the Senate and stuff at that point, or before that, like up to that point, because they're just peacekeepers and whatnot. So I don't know. That's why they're not. That's like, so that's why now, knowing that new timeline, I'm not as upset that the Jedi are as politically minded, because it's not, like I said, it's not that far away to where it should be something new. Like it's happening already, and it's like I thought we were gonna get like Prime Jedi and like some good shit, and like I'll give credit where credit's due. That fight in the previous episode, or 2 episodes ago now, whatever. The fight was great, dark but great. But that's it. This show is doing more damage because it's just showing the Jedi as like asshole. They're just assholes. They're gonna come in, do whatever they want, and like Saul, he puts his knee, like he knows they're too old to begin the training. He's just like, and this is before they know they're virgins. He's just like, well, no, I know what's best for her. Like, whoa, you're sounding kind of arrogant and full of yourself there, pal. Where's that Jedi humility? Yeah. And stuff like that. And then like, I'll shut up in a second. And then it's like, now I want to know, I don't want to show about it for God's sake, but now I want to know, what did Osha do to get expelled from the Order, or decide to quit the Order, or did Saul just lose interest in her because it's like, she's 14, I don't care about her now, you know, because we don't want to say the word, but his whole attitude is very real. It's very those vibes. Like I'm honestly, if somebody doesn't do a satire episode on YouTube where it's basically SVU about the Acolyte, I don't know.
Dada, I'm gonna get to your question, so don't think I'm ignoring you on purpose. I mean, don't think I'm ignoring you because I don't want to answer it. I do want to answer it. I'll get to that.
Ooh, that's such a loaded question, Dada.
Yeah. So today I was watching. I can't believe I'm about to type this.
Uh-oh.
Today I watched. I went to the Mary Sue. They interviewed. What is her name? Leslie
Haley
on the main page.
Headland?
Birthday story. We've been known for.
So they interviewed
Hey, I
her.
worked there.
You worked there at B&H?
Yeah, right out of college.
Oh, no way. So we must have crossed paths even back then, because I used to go there a lot.
Oh, that was, well, I wasn't in the store, but anyway, we digress.
So, first of all, Star Wars Theory did a reaction to this. If anybody wants to see somebody rant over this, there you go. Because we don't have time to watch this whole thing. I will say this. This interview even happening didn't make sense to me. Like, if Disney was like, oh, this is a good idea, then it just kind of solidifies they don't give a shit. Like they have the worst marketing team of all time. If they're like, oh, just to get you out there, go talk to the Mary Sue. That's going to be something that the fans would enjoy. Like, if that was a conversation, all is lost. And I think we're all on the same page. All is lost here. I encourage you guys, if you want to torture yourself, watch this interview like on its own. Don't watch the Star Wars Theory one, but if you can, if you really have nothing else to watch, you're just like, I hate my life and I'm going to torture myself for all the wrongs I've done, watch this interview. I'm going to link it in the comments right now. Now, my thoughts on this interview are going to be similar to Dada's question of The Last Jedi. And then it all ties into my thoughts of this episode. In this interview, actually, I'll play a couple seconds here. I just want to see if somehow she's talking about but let me just play a quick minute here.
The answer from a human place, meaning that as a human audience member, you would be able to follow and relate with, maybe not the murder, but you could definitely relate with what he's saying. You know, when he says, I want freedom, they're like, well, yeah, everybody, you know, how can you not want that? When he says, the reason I'm doing this is because you say I can't exist. Like it's a very almost countercultural idea for, you know, I rewrote that scene so many times. I can't tell you that when I finally got You Brought Her Here, I was like, thank you, Jesus. Like I was like, it's so important what the first few lines this person says, so that exactly what you're saying, like you just get locked into his point of view as a character, not a bad guy. And I think him saying You Brought Her Here tells you almost everything that you need to know about the character, which is like, yes, I'm brutal. Yes, I just did something unforgivable, but you brought her here. You know, like you recruit children and you train them and you bring them into situations that they shouldn't be in.
So that was a perfect spot. So she's talking about Darth Smiley. Actor name is, but she's talking about how I think he's the villain of the show. I'm going to quote like she's quoting. I think he's the villain of the show, but I don't really know. So she's talking about the stranger and how he is a villain because, you know, again, as she mentioned there, he's a villain because it's like the Jedi made him a villain. Like he's like, hey, I only exist because you guys say I'm not allowed to exist. You guys essentially are saying, if you're not a Jedi, you're Sith. It's black and it's white. Only as Kenobi said, only a Sith deal in absolutes. And then the obvious comeback is, well, you guys deal in absolutes. And that comment is an absolute. But, you know, the concept of the Jedi hunting down anybody who's force sensitive, using it for battle, but not a Jedi, to me is an interesting concept. Like if this character is actually more gray Jedi, happens to use a red lightsaber, and the Jedi hunt him down because they're like, obviously, if you're not with us, you're against us. To me, that makes for a compelling show. I'd be to watch that. The problem I have with... Oh, sorry. You going to say something?
I said same.
Oh, yeah. So the problem I have with this interview, with the show, and with The Last Jedi is that all three things could be explained, or I should say the two things, The Acolyte and Last Jedi. I can tell you about both shows, tell you about the things in the show. I can tell you about the kind of characters in the show, like what their backgrounds are as far as we understand them, and make it sound compelling. I can make it sound like it is interesting. However, that does not override the fact that we also have watched the show, watched the movie, seen them in real time, and seen that the execution of these is absolute trash. Like, that whole thing, that whole monologue she just gave about the stranger, that would be interesting if we even knew why he was what he is. If we knew, how does he know Saul? How did he get May and Osha? Or I don't even know which twin is which anymore, but how did he get the one that he was training? Like, why is he so strong? Why does he have the lashes on his back? It'd be great if we learned that stuff in the show. You don't learn any of that in the show. And then a counter argument will be, well, there's one more episode. Yeah, one more episode to maybe explain his reasons for what he's doing. But we also need to learn Saul's reason for what he's doing. We need to learn why is May. Which one's the bad one? Is it May?
May.
We need to learn why is May so good at even fighting. Why did Osha get kicked out? There's so much to learn in one more episode that I'm like, this is terrible storytelling. It's absolute shitty. And with The Last Jedi, yeah, I can talk about cool things in concept of that movie, but it's a shit movie. And it destroys as Kylo Ren said, destroy the past, like destroy everything before this.
Yeah,
but that's not the point of that's not the point of a series, to destroy the previous books, movies, etc.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a long rant.
Yeah, I went on one too, so it's fine.
But I implore you guys to watch this interview. Really, it's. I was telling the guys in the chat, if I watched that interview before the show came out, I would say she seems to have an understanding of Star Wars. She seems to have a very surface level understanding of Star Wars. She knows some of the characters. She has an idea of like what maybe made them do decisions they've done and all sorts of stuff. But then you watch the show and you're like, this is god awful. Yeah. Like you did multiple rewrites of this and this is what we got. So, I don't know. But with The Last Jedi thing, it's funny because you're not the first person today who asked me, why do I hate that movie? Because it doesn't make sense that people hate it so much. It's a bad movie.
Yeah, it's a bad Star Wars movie.
It's a bad movie.
Okay.
I mean, like, it can't stand on its own. It's not like Empire Strikes Back. Like, there's nothing about that movie that you could say, I'm going to watch this as an isolated thing and follow along. Mm-hmm. Unless I'm wrong. Like, I mean, you could say if I'm wrong on that.
No, because you can't watch it alone because it literally picks up at the end of Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And then it has no... Well, they tried to copy, in my opinion, they tried to copy the Empire Strikes Back ending because, you know, they're all on the Falcon and they're looking at the broken lightsaber and they're like, oh, we got everything we need. And even though all their friends and the entire fleet have just been murdered and now all that fleet of people fits on the fucking Millennium Falcon,
Mm-hmm.
they're all hanging out and smiling. Oh, we got our buddies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they try to kind of copy that whole thing of Luke and Leia looking as the Falcon flies off at the end.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good.
And
I was trying to say, the only reason sorry to cut you off, the only reason I specified that it was a good movie, or excuse me, not a good movie, but specified it's not a good Star Wars movie is because visually it did look great. Like, I'll give it that much. Like, the whole dome maneuver, that looks amazing on scene. I think I said at the time, because Justice League had come out, the Justice League, excuse me, and I'd said, I believe that in Last Jedi, we were everywhere we were in that movie, space, the planets, everything, versus I didn't believe that Henry Cavill was standing in a field in Kansas.
Right.
So
that's a really good point. It's a really good point. I mean, looking just here, I could remember seeing the aesthetic of this movie and being like, this is going to be the greatest Star Wars movie of all time. Like,
oh, yeah.
when these posters dropped, when you saw like this scene here, you know, you saw, you know, Snoke in the throne room when they whip out the lightsaber. I mean, everything aesthetic wise is phenomenal. But then when you watch it, that's when you're like, there's nothing here. There's zero substance here. And it's incredible.
And Incredible's incredibly bad. And then again, the next movie tries to undo this movie.
Uh-huh.
They put Kylo Ren back in the mask in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, shit like that.
Yeah. And the thing is, we did want them to undo The Last Jedi. We did. But it didn't mean we wanted them to just make another old movie. Yeah. It was like maybe undo plot points, but go forward. Don't rehash yet another movie, which they did. I thought the one interesting part...
There's no redemption for Luke at all.
No, zero.
Sorry.
Yeah, zero.
Zero. Like his speech at the end, the weapon of the Jedi should be treated with more respect. Yeah, you're right. And you should have treated it with more respect.
But you
when
didn't.
She handed it back to you.
Yep.
You fucking grumpy old bastard.
I thought the most interesting part of the movie was definitely when they killed Snoke and Kylo was going to be the Supreme Leader. I was like, oh, all right. Now you have a version of Palpatine and Vader as one person. There's no longer, you're no longer subservient to somebody else. And I was like, that's all right. That's a cool concept. That was the only part that I was like, all right, I'm interested to see what you do with him. I liked his fighting style. I was talking about that with my friend Chris yesterday, where I was like, all right, we've never seen somebody fight with a lightsaber in like a broadsword style. I think that was interesting. But, you get to the Rise of Skywalker and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. Trash.
Yeah.
Trash.
And I will cut you off and say, I've been reading, like I told you guys, I've been reading every friggin' Star Wars comic just about every Star Wars comic they put out recently, the current run. And we're seeing I'm up to a part now where Luke is willing it's getting closer to Return of the Jedi in the timeline, but it's the books are all set right after Empire, before, or I guess leading up to Return of the Jedi. And the part I'm at, Luke actually cleanses a kyber crystal, a red one, obviously.
Yep.
But it's like I'm enjoying the story, but it's pissing me off because I know how ultimately it ends. But it's like he's willing to be in that kyber crystal and do what it takes to cleanse a rock.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yes, they're living and everything else, I understand that. But he's willing to do all that. And he's doing all that because he's like, if I can do it for this, maybe I can do it for somebody else. So he's already thinking about Vader.
Others. Yeah.
Exactly. And then, again, like, okay, I don't know if this has ever been in a book or if this is canon or not. I don't know if if anybody tried to say, well, Palpatine, since he never really died, he was actually also fucking with Luke. And that's why Luke drew his lightsaber. I don't know if they said that, but I can imagine somebody put that out there as a way to save him or redeem what he was doing. But if that isn't the case, like I've said and you've said and everybody said, him pulling the lightsaber to kill his nephew in his sleep because of a dream does not fit with the Skywalker I've seen in those other 3 movies and that I'm reading about right now.
Yeah.
So that's to me the biggest sin. Like, I can understand to a point killing Han Solo, and they had to kill Leia because obviously, but like killing Luke wasn't necessary. His redemption moment should have been him. Like, we should have seen him lift out the X-Wing like we did in whatever that
Last
third
Jedi
one was. No.
Return of the Jedi?
No. The sequel, I can't remember.
Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, that. And that.
I thought she pulled it out of the water in Last Jedi. She didn't?
No, she pulls it out of the water in Rise of Skywalker. I'm saying in Last Jedi, Luke should have pulled it out, hopped in, and gone to save the day at the last minute.
Yeah.
Instead of force projection or whatever.
Patrick, I hate you.
And actually...
Patrick has not seen any of these.
Sorry. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's one with the Force, so is anybody truly dead?
Are you ever dead?
I will say, in regards to the interview, I didn't watch the full interview. I watched Star Wars Theories rant. And one thing he caught, he just goes, "Did you hear that?" And I'm going to say it, and this is definitely potentially a spoiler for the Acolyte. So am I okay to say it?
Yeah.
She says at some point, like I forget the exact quote, but basically she says something along the lines of, well, yeah, everybody who's seen him, who's encountered him dies.
Right.
And he pauses and he's like, did you catch that? So it's like the end of the Acolyte, based on that snippet, could be that everybody but the Master dies. So next week,
I think we all knew that going into it.
I mean, of course, that's a possibility, but like when the creator of the fucking show just says that in an interview before it's over, it's like, what are you doing? Like, why would you say something like that before the final episode airs?
Yeah.
And it's also like, how are you going to, okay, God, I hope they don't do it, but everybody dies. So now it's the second season is just going to be about him looking for another Acolyte, or if he does convert Osha, what's her motivation at that point if all the Jedi are dead? Unless, if Saul dies, like that statement leads you to believe, what is her mission of vengeance that's going to drive her to the dark side in the second season? Is she just going to try to kill the whole Jedi Order?
Let me explain to you the root of my frustration. This is meant to be one season. She believes this is one story that will be told start to finish in these 8 episodes. There is no, if or what it like. This is meant to be one solid season. So yeah, in theory, somebody could live on, and then it's just like how Reva is walking around somewhere in the galaxy. Like it could be one of those scenarios. Okay. But this is one thing. So I'm like, we got to wrap up Saul, however you say his name. You got to wrap him up. Stranger's got to get wrapped up. May, Osha, all of them. They're either all going to die, or some of them live, and we never hear from them again. I don't know. But there's a lot to cover in the last episode if this is meant to be just one season, if that was the intention.
Well, the only reason I was talking about it not is because, like, for Kenobi, it said limited season series, I think.
Right.
And they've said stuff like that, but on this, I'm pretty sure it says season 1.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I was basing it on, like, potentially being a season 2.
Yeah.
But
maybe.
God, I hope not.
I don't know. She also talks about in the interview something that we've talked about, which is, the Jedi at this point have had no real competition. So they kind of suck because they've been domesticated. All they do is spar in a dojo. They don't really fight anybody. That's like a worthy opponent. So that's part of the reason why things are happening the way they're happening, and their hubris will lead to their downfall. All that stuff it's what we've talked about. It makes sense. I love the concept. It's not what we're getting though. And this was also supposed to be a show about the Sith. It was supposed to be a show where the Sith are the main characters. Even if they end up saying that Soul, whatever, is a Sith Lord, it won't make sense. And I still don't even think he's the main character. I don't know who the main character is of this show. Everybody wants these twins for some reason. I don't even know if they're the main characters. The stranger having so much monologue time in the last makes me think that he might even be the main character. I don't know.
That's what I'm leaning towards.
But then, I swear to God, next weekend, there's going to be some flashback. Or next week, there'll be some flashback. The director's wife is going to end up being a Sith that was in the Jedi the whole time. And everybody dies. Because don't forget, them motherfuckers are still walking around too. Her whole squad. And they all witnessed all the bodies. So they got to die too.
They witnessed the bodies, but they didn't see him necessarily. So, because the one Padawan was very quick to say Master Soul could have done this because he's the experience. It's like, and even she said, like, I feel like the whatever it was like, that's a hell of a jump. She didn't say it obviously like that, but
that's
the vibe I got.
In defense of that, whoever wrote that part, In defense of that, yeah, as far as he knows, there is nothing out there that can kill a Jedi. The Sith have not existed. They're just a myth. So the only thing out there that can kill a Jedi is another Jedi, in his logic, which I'm fine with, in theory. But then you watch the show and you're like, the fuck? Just like, the fuck is happening?
Yeah. I really... and to clarify, I'm not hate watching the show. I'm just filling empty time in my day watching the show. Like, I got nothing else to do for whatever this was, 45 minutes today.
Yeah.
Fine. Gives me something to talk about with you.
Yeah, I don't. That's the thing. Is it? I've mentioned it before with the numbers. Disney Star Wars isn't going away, and the only way it happens, the only way that this goes away, is if everybody stops watching. They stop going to Disney World, to Galaxy's Edge. They stop clicking the heart button on Instagram. They stop going on the YouTube videos and watching them, even to leave a thumbs down. All of that has to stop. People buying the games, if there's a game, the figures. And it won't. The people won't stop. So therefore, can't stop, won't stop. We're going to keep getting this stuff.
Yeah.
It's somebody, who was it? Screen Rant, I think. Let me see. I believe it was Screen Rant who they noted that this had like the hardest drop off of any Star Wars show or something. Oh, here you go. The viewership says it's not good, but yet it's still above Andor, and Andor is getting a season 2, as mentioned in the caption here. So, like, for one, I'm thinking, and I said it here in the oh, sorry, I thought I was showing it to you guys. My apologies. So for one, I'm thinking, and I asked a question here, did Disney release these numbers? Like, where did these numbers come from? I'm willing to call bullshit on the numbers, but I want to know if these numbers are true. But there's also no logic here, because if this is number 6, Andor's getting season 2, lower viewership than this, lower than Boba Fett, lower than Ahsoka, lower than Kenobi. And then by this logic, Mando season 1's even lower than Andor somehow. We know that's not true. So
yeah, Mando season 1 should be number 1.
Yeah. Season 2 should be number 1, because the last episode, I think, broke all the records.
Oh. Fair.
But, you know, it's the thing is, all of it's trash, with some exception. All of it's trash, but we're going to keep watching it. And if we don't, somebody else will. And therefore, it's going to keep on rolling. If they ever get rid of Kathleen Kennedy, which people, you know, the Fandom Menace videos, they roll on. People, this is the end of Star Wars. This is the end of Disney. At the end of the day, if Kathleen Kennedy gets fired, it's because they're just like, hey, do you want to do this anymore? She's like, nah, I'm good. Because they're still getting numbers. At no point will they ever say, oh, we're making $5 billion. If we fix our act, we'll make 10. They just care they're making $5 billion.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they definitely want more, but they're gonna see this creative team as doing good things, so they're never gonna change them.
If I can go to the Hasbro site, if it was actually working, you'd see the helmet for the Stranger sold out in like 30 seconds. Exaggeration, but it sold out. People still gonna buy the stuff. Cantina, people still bought that. They don't care what franchise it is as long as you're buying. So we're to blame. We are all to blame.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I want to just play the beginning part of this. Hang on, let's see here. And actually, you know what? Let me hit the poll to see what did you guys think. And the Acolyte was first place, 75%. Has done more damage than Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I feel like my screen, is my screen frozen? No.
I see you moving.
You know what it is? To close the poll, I had to go to this stream on YouTube where I paused it. So I'm like, wait, I'm not moving. I just want to end with the beginning here of this interview.
In terms of how you guys feel about it, as a studio. So I don't know what went on with Chiarimundi. I heard there was some drama.
It's the dumbest thing ever. It's about a birthday. But I was like, it's not
Is it really?
Yeah. But I was like, it's not deemed canon anymore. And I like looked that up and I was like, yeah, because it was like in a card and all this stuff. And I was like, listen, I know Leslie is like me and we love non-canon characters.
Yeah. Non-canon canon is the best kind of canon.
For like half of the characters I love, like they're not canon anymore.
They're
Not a false statement, but I just hate the fact that they're saying it. Like the Chiandi, I know what she's referencing. The Chiarimundi thing came from a CD-ROM, and that's where people harped on, oh, he's not born yet. But that CD-ROM is not canon technically. That's what she's talking about.
Right.
So.
Jason and Jaina, they're gone. Mara Jade's gone.
my twins. But speaking of twins, great. Twins are always a theme in Star Wars, which I do think is very cool that the show is like, yep, it's everywhere. Twins are just in Star Wars.
Bites. Happy birthday.
I'm good with that. YouTube was like, we're going to show you chicken now.
More interested in the chicken than the rest of the interview, frankly.
Yeah. Agreed. Josh said, I just enjoy the aspect of more Star Wars, not so much the actual content, good or bad. Recent Star Wars, that is. Yeah. And Patrick said, I didn't vote because I'm ignorant to it all. Yeah. It's fair.
I wish I was ignorant as well. But I've seen.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I think Patrick said the other day he has not watched any of the prequels, I think. And
Sequels or prequels?
No, prequels.
Okay.
And I think maybe he has seen some of the sequels.
Ugh.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I mean, listen, they're not perfect, but like compared to what, like we've said, compared to what we're getting now, the prequels are fucking peak Star Wars compared to this shit.
Yeah.
A few exceptions.
Yeah. Actually, shout out to Millennium Workshop. He was over on Star Wars Sith's podcast. Let me just pull that up. I finished the episode today. Oh, that's not him. I thought it was called Sithcast. Star Wars Sith podcast. Oh, here we go. Oh, I don't see the podcast channel. Anyway, I'll put his main channel in the comments, and you guys can find it that way. Great interview though, and he talks about how Phantom Menace was his reintroduction to Star Wars. Like he had seen the OG, kind of young, forgot about them. Phantom Menace comes out, he's in. forgets about it again, and then Mandalorian season 1 makes him a fan again. So everybody has different entry points. Insert your jokes now. Anything you want to, again, insert jokes. Anything you want to plug before we call it an episode?
The answer I can give. Yeah, I've read a whole lot of Batman comics recently, and they are coming out every Tuesday until the end of the month. And you can tell that how much I enjoyed them because of the dwindling amount of detail I go into on each episode, I think. So spoilers, I guess, for that. But on the flip side, I've been reading, like I said, all this Star Wars, and I'm going to try to do maybe like a top 10 scenes or something, because in all the Star Wars comics that I've been reading, specifically the Vader book and the Star Wars comic, there's just been some pretty cool and/or badass moments in each book. Like this is the Vader you wanted to see. This is like answering the questions of like, how does Luke get from Empire Strike Back, where he loses a hand, to being like the guy who force chokes Jabba's guard and mind tricks what's his face into getting the audience with Jabba. So there is good Star Wars out there. You just have to be willing to read to to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And actually, so before I forget, there should be an update. Wes has mentioned he's still working on the rifle, but he said he was going to try to get it back to me by the end of the month.
Nice.
That was his timeline. I told him, if you need to go into August, whatever. But apparently it's spread out on his dining room table, and he's working and measuring and doing stuff. So should be an update on that sometime in the next month or so.
Yeah. I love that. And, on screen right now, you guys are seeing the channel. So make sure you subscribe if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform. Anthony has been doing a lot of comic reviews. He's been reading a lot of books, and I'm giving him a homework assignment.
Okay.
And it is to read the Ghostbusters TMNT crossover and do that video. So I think we need
publish that again?
Who did publish that?
I'm Googling. IDW.
I don't even see it on here. But I'll take your word for it. Yeah. I say you read it and talk about it on the channel.
I definitely can do that, because
I
didn't realize that was a real thing.
I didn't either. And I think, I don't know, I feel like back in 2017, both franchises were not at their peak. They weren't. By the way, shout out to EC. Good to see you. Eclectic Skeptic. Good to see you. And of course, Legacy of Nerd. I think in 2017, we were getting Turtle stuff. And, all these random places. You had the Batman Turtle crossover. You had a bunch of things, but they weren't being taken seriously at that point. And I feel like with Ghostbusters, it was kind of a forgotten franchise, really, at that point in time. So I think we all saw this came across our tables, and we're just like, we'll get to it, and then just forgot about it. Personally, I think it's probably what happened. But I watched some breakdowns, or I watched some videos on them, and it seems pretty good. So I think you would enjoy the story, personally.
I am actually downloading the IDW app as we speak. I'm multitasking.
There you go. Enjoy. And it's funny, I did a picture. So the reason I found out that this comic book existed was I took this picture. It was actually this version of the picture. I posted it, did it on my phone, or I took the picture on my camera, but I downloaded the photo on my phone to do an edit. And I said, the crossover we never got, but we deserved. Somebody commented on Facebook, "Hey, you idiot. we did get this. And I was like, oh. So I went back, I watched the videos, and it turns out that this scene kind of happens in the book. It's not really a spoiler, but you have Donnie and Ray kind of hanging out in the book. So the scene kind of happens. So I decided, I'm going to take that same photo and give it the actual computer love. And that's where I was able to get it to this. So moral of the story, do your homework and always edit RAW files. Don't edit JPEGs like a damn noob. I'll say that. Also, shout out.
Actually, sorry, really last thing on my part, I didn't even realize. Happy 7-Eleven Day.
Yeah. It's funny. I missed the opportunity to post Happy 7 of 9 Day.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. My wife is currently, Amanda is currently, just to specify which wife, is currently on a Voyager watch through. She's never watched it. And I told her Happy 7 of 9 Day, but she's not that far in. So she knew who 7 of 9 was because of Picard, but it didn't resonate because she hasn't gone through Voyager yet that far.
Gotcha. Voyager was the first Star Trek I watched in real time on air.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So that, because I saw the repeats, I used to watch repeats of Next Generation all the time.
Yep.
On Channel 11.
Yep.
And so I saw Voyager in real time, and then I saw Enterprise in real time.
And because you're racist, you didn't watch Deep Space Nine. Got it.
I did watch Deep Space Nine.
Got it. Understood. Understood.
Wow. I saw episodes of it, but I was just like, this is where I was watching the old Next Generation while that was on, and I was like,
yeah,
where are my guys? This isn't what's going on here. They're on a space station. That's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So,
real quick, hey Mega Demon, good to see ya. Sandra Garcia, good to see ya. First time on the show, I think. Patrick says that's the only Ghostbuster and TMNT comic I have. I think it's the only one that's out there. Can I get a shout out? There you go. I gave you the shout out. And I said hi to everybody else. No, Deep Space Nine, I think it, once again, I say this all the time when it comes to representation, it matters, because I remember I'd watch Next Gen with my dad, and it was there. I enjoyed it. I had toys from it. I had the ships, but it wasn't Star Wars. It wasn't like a major thing to me. But when they debuted Deep Space Nine, and I was like, oh man, there's a captain, even though he's a commander, but there's a captain that looks like me. I'm interested. And then when my dad and I watched the show, and then it's literally the commander and his son, like it's kind of like their story. I'm like, oh, this resonates with me. I relate to this. I'm interested. So Deep Space Nine was my first, I think. I knew Next Gen, but I don't know if I was watching it real time or replay. I couldn't tell you. But Deep Space Nine for sure was my first, like, we're watching it in real time as it debuts every Saturday on Channel 11.
Gotcha.
Or Sunday. I don't remember. I know Hercules and Xena were Saturday. I don't know what Deep Space Nine was Saturday also.
Hercules and Xena were the closest thing to, I don't know, from Korn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially some of those earlier episodes of Hercules, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
What are you watching? Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, Babylon 5. Babylon 5. You know, I keep saying as we wrap up, I mean it for real this time. I love the story of Deep Space Nine existing because they stole the idea from Babylon 5. I think I've told you that in the chats before. But as a reminder to everybody who doesn't know the story, by the way, there's that YouTube channel. What is it? God damn, he changed the name of it. Toy Galaxy. Now it's like something else Galaxy. They renamed it. But he did one on Deep Space Nine the other day. And I've seen this story before, so it's not the first time I've heard it. But dude that ended up making Babylon 5, he pitched the idea to Paramount of a Star Trek show on a space station that essentially the aliens come to them. They said, "That's dumb. Get out of here." He said, "Okay." He left. He found somebody to buy the idea for Babylon 5, was going to start producing it. Star Trek, aka Paramount, was like, "Oh, actually, let's do that idea. And we're going to try to drop it before Babylon 5 comes out." So they rush it out. Of course, it's a great show. Babylon 5 eventually comes out. And naturally, everybody's like, "Oh, this is a ripoff of Deep Space Nine." But actually, it's the reverse. It's just that they had more money. So they came out first.
Interesting.
There you go. Hashtag Commander Cisco. Thank you, sir, for stopping by. Thank you guys for being here. As a reminder, I won't be here next week or the week after that. So will we have a substitute? We don't know, but we might. I think we have one confirmed for 2 weeks from now. This week, not sure. We'll see. I think we will. We'll find out. You guys will find out. Stop by. So I will say that normally HeyArcher Live is every Thursday, 8:15-ish p.m. here on Nerd Affiliated. Next 2 weeks, we'll see. But I have a honeymoon to go on, so I'm going to do that. Nerdy Coffee. Not happening for the next 2 weeks, I think, unless somebody else does that. But I'll be back in 2 weeks for that. You guys have been getting this show every week for like 4 years. Your boy needs 2 weeks off. Give me that. But maybe somebody else will cover that while I'm gone. Thank you to Anthony for joining me on the stream today. Thank you for all of you joining me on the stream today. I need to get out of this office. I've been in this office since 8:30 this morning, and I'm ready to not sit in this chair for a couple minutes. HeyArcher Live, Nerdy Coffee, links to everything over at nerdaffiliated.com, therealnerdbusters.com for all you Ghostbuster fans. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll talk to all you nerds in the next video. Peace. I'm out of here.
and 316 says I just whipped your ass.